2018 is coming to a close, and with that, we look back at the year that was. Welcome to this Year in Review special. I'm John Love.
And I'm Scott Olson. Throughout this program, we'll look back at the stories that we've shown over the past year. 2018, just like other years, have featured people in the community helping others around the area. And with that, we start off with a familiar face here in the news program. His name is Peter Kelleher, but some may know him by just one word, Soup Man.
A simple request for gloves and socks has been life-changing for resident Peter Kelleher. After losing his son to an overdose in 2016, Peter made it his mission to help others struggling with homelessness and addiction.
It's incredible, to turn a horror show around like losing a son that I don't wish upon anybody.
Peter began his work by dishing out his homemade soup, earning him the nickname Soup Man. As warmer days turned colder, Peter noticed another need, winter gloves. He reached out to the community for donations, and the response was completely overwhelming. So much so that his simple gesture evolved into a successful nonprofit. Support the Soup Man is truly a community effort. A steady stream of volunteers helps organize backpack nights and bag lunches. Area students decorate lunch bags with inspirational photos and messages.
Believe in yourself, follow your dreams.
Local businesses have also been incredibly generous. Most recently, Lucini Transportation donated a bus that was converted into a mobile food and clothing pantry. Portable showers are set to be delivered in February, and Peter is already fundraising for a second set of showers.
Making a difference, really. It's when I go out there and I feed these people the soup, and they watch my back. The Soup Man's here. I didn't ask for any of this, trust me, but I can't not run with it.
Well, it's amazing how one small gesture can make a world of difference. Peter was named Citizen of the Year by the Rotary Club this year.
And we should note that one of those generous donations to support the Soup Man was $35,000 made on behalf of Russell E. Pierce, a World War II veteran who knew firsthand about addiction and homelessness. Peter is grateful for all the support he's received in the last year and mentioned the nonprofit is in desperate need of sweatshirts size XL to 4XL, as well as men's boots size 9 to 14. He's also still looking for volunteers to stuff backpacks to hand out, but there hasn't been a shortage of offers to help out.
See all this? It's all for you.
What?
It's all for you. What do you think?
That's a lot of time.
Well, social media in 2018 has been used for many things.
To say the least.
We let everybody know what we're thinking or how we're feeling. There may be a charity or foundation that we want to support, or maybe celebrate a team's success in sports like the Patriots, Celtics, just to name a couple.
Just name a few. The Red Sox, they kind of won the whole thing. But locally, Facebook pages around Bridgewater were used to help communicate the story of a 9-year-old's difficult medical journey. We introduce you to Mary Alice Trida throughout the year. Mary Alice has undergone anesthesia multiple times, suffered 2 broken hips, a hole in her heart, cysts in her brain, and much, much more.
And she underwent an invasive knee surgery earlier this year, and Mary Alice's mother Kelly started a Facebook group called Cards for Mary Alice, and it's safe to assume that this was a resounding success. Cards and gifts were sent from around town and around the world to raise the spirits of a 9-year-old Bridgewater girl. Mary Alice Trida has been in and out of hospitals for most of her life. 2 broken hips, 3 surgeries, a hole in her heart, more than 20 x-rays, more than 30 visits to an orthopedic specialist, and more. A few weeks ago, Mary Alice underwent a serious knee operation that put her in a cast for nearly 2 months. The operation took place just 5 days after Mary Alice's 9th birthday. Over the past few months, Kelly Trida organized a card shower for her daughter on Facebook, and the response was quite a surprise.
I would say 95% of these cards and packages are from people that we've never met. We don't know. They're from around the world, around the country. We've hit 50 states, upwards of 25 countries now, and the outpouring is amazing. We're grateful. I thought we would have some cards from my friends that I've known forever, which we do, which is amazing. And the Facebook page just kind of took off. People shared it. They shared it like crazy. And every time I went to the post office, just piles of cards, packages. It was crazy.
Gifts, snacks, jewelry, a lot of stickers, and of course cards led to a great day for a 9-year-old going through a difficult time, making this social media effort a resounding success.
I've never seen so many cards in my life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. This makes recovery a little more fun. This makes recovery, this gives us some activities to do. Just thank you so much to the entire community. We've only been in Bridgewater for a year, so to have this kind of outpouring, so many of these cards are just from local area. So this is tremendous. So thank you.
After her operation, Mary Alice was signed by Stonehill's field hockey team through the Team Impact organization, which matches up kids with chronic diseases and conditions with sports teams. The commitment is for 2 years, but you can certainly see by the photo that Mary Alice has made some friendships that will certainly last for a lifetime. Kelly tried to update the Facebook group on the recovery process for Mary Alice. Along with gaining progress in mobility in her leg, Mary Alice is able to move around with a little more ease and without the help of a walker or wheelchair. We certainly wish Mary Alice the best of luck in the future.
Earlier this year, Bridgewater firefighters delivered a baby in the back of an ambulance on Route 18. The baby and mother were healthy after the birth, and our cameras were at the fire station as the new family visited the firefighters that helped deliver baby Isla.
We had a feeling when we got into the ambulance that this was the real deal and this was going to be a delivery, whether it was on the road, at the house, or at the hospital.
And this was the real deal for these firefighters on April 2nd as they got a call that Samantha Mason was going into labor.
After we went outside, they put me on a stretcher. And when we left, it felt like 10 minutes of pain. They were telling me that she was crowning and she was coming and to push. And they just made it wicked comfortable, and it was honestly wicked scary.
Jason Anaki, Jonathan Hart, Thomas Luckman III, and John Maloof knew that time was of the essence when they heard the call come into the station, and they had to be ready for baby Isla to be born as soon as possible, even in an ambulance while on the way to the hospital.
And you just drive as fast as you can, hoping you can make it to the hospital, but eventually we threw in the towel and pulled over to the side right off of Route 18, and that's when baby Isla showed up.
With all the craziness going on, the firefighters and baby Isla's father maintained their composure throughout the entire birth.
You revert back to your training, along with the ambulance that shows up. The engine comes with some additional help, so we had another firefighter, John Maloof, driving, and the leadership and calming presence of Captain Schlatt's on scene really kept us grounded, and helped the call go a lot smoother than it could have.
Hearing the cries, hearing the screaming, and telling them to push and push, it was unbelievable, honestly. And in the front, I was anxious.
And for Jason Anaki, who's been on the department for only a short time, this is a moment that some seasoned firefighters and paramedics don't go through for their entire career.
Usually people go their entire career without delivering a baby, well, at least in the field. So it's pretty crazy, 3 weeks in. So I think we all did a pretty good job.
The new family visited the fire station on April 25th, and a rare opportunity for the firefighters to meet the baby that was born in their ambulance.
Yeah, I thought I was going to cry. I really did. I was like, I'm going to be crying.
It's nice. A lot of times we don't get any follow-up with our patients. We leave them at the emergency room and head back to Bridgewater, and that's the last we ever see of them. So it's nice. Thank you guys for coming in and sharing this experience with us.
We had some big snowstorms this year, which Jeff Fowler will talk about more later on in the program. With big storms, typically the advice given by meteorologists is to stay home and stay off the roads. Unfortunately, there were some drivers that went against this advice and went out driving. An elderly couple got their car stuck on the snow on the train tracks on Broad Street. Fortunately, two of Bridgewater's residents were in the right place at the right time. Ray Armstead and Ryan Sabo pulled the couple out of the car seconds before the train crashed into it. The car was then thrown 20 feet into a control shed, exposing live wires. No injuries were reported. In May, the two were recognized for the heroic efforts at the Celtics playoff game against the Philadelphia 76ers as the night's Heroes Among Us. The award is presented at every Celtics game to the heroic achievements of outstanding citizens. It must have been good luck for the C's as they won the game and the series that evening.
The opioid crisis affects hundreds of thousands of people every year. This epidemic isn't just a problem in New England, but across the country as well. According to a CDC study, over 1,000 people a day are treated for misusing prescription opioids. In 2016, 2,069 Massachusetts residents died due to opioids. The effort to stop this epidemic continues, and here in town at Trinity Episcopal Church, there was a candlelight vigil held to remember those that were lost to opioid overdoses, and in July, a Georgia man came to town as part of his East Coast walking trip to share his story about how this epidemic hits close to home.
So we pour out as an addict that became desperate, that didn't have much hope.
I went to pick him up and he said we had to go somewhere. So I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? It was a drug deal that we had to go on. He told me, never tell anyone about this and pretend you didn't see anything.
She went for a walk and she never came home. She stopped at a bar and that tornado sucked her in. And once again, she surrendered to a trigger.
Although they are different people, they all share the pain of substance use disorder. At a candlelight vigil held at Trinity Episcopal Church on January 28th, residents from around the area came out to remember those that were lost to the epidemic while hearing how it can affect more than just one life.
You know, when I was locked up, my mom was dying of cancer, and, I know I hurt her. I know I hurt her really bad. She just wanted to see me one more time.
She told me she got permission from Billy to tell me where he was. This whole time he didn't want to upset me, which of course not knowing did the exact opposite. She told me he had gone to detox and completed and he moved to a halfway house. I was on my way to work and I didn't know what to do. I was in shock.
This was a collaborative effort between Trinity and the Addiction Policy Forum's Massachusetts delegation.
So the Addiction Policy Forum is a group based in Washington, D.C., and our main purpose is to help fundraise and educate and lobby for changes with addiction. We are now going out to the state levels to do outreach in communities, to do education, to teach people about addiction, to educate people, and essentially what our motto is that we envision a world where there are fewer deaths from addiction.
According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, every day well over 100 people die from opioid overdoses, with a large number being males aged 17 to 22. These are numbers that the Addiction Policy Forum is looking to shrink.
So it's our future that's being lost. It's the boys next door. I actually lost my son in April of 2016. He was a 20-year-old college student, honors student on a full academic scholarship. Really the boy next door. So the purpose of that campaign was to help educate and show what addiction really is now. It's our mothers, it's our fathers, it's our aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, friends.
A trek that started over 150 days ago and has crossed 13 states and over 2,000 miles has taken 2 men and a dog on a journey that isn't measured in miles logged, but stories shared. Brett Bramble and John Azzarolo embarked on the East Coast trip starting in Key West, Florida and ending in Maine, looking to raise awareness of the effect the opioid crisis can have on a friend or a family member. This epidemic hits close to home for Brett, who lost his sister Brittany in 2014.
4 years ago, I lost my sister Brittany to a heroin overdose. Losing my sister devastated our family. 2 years after my sister passed away, I walked from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, Delaware to San Francisco. It took 8 months. I had no real mission, wasn't raising money for anything. I had no real clear purpose other than share my sister's story, my story, and try to connect with people, try to do what I could.
For Brett's friend John, who has been walking the entire trip as well, this has been an educational experience while trying to help people through a difficult time as they struggle with the effects of overdoses.
I didn't know much about the overdose problem when I signed on for this. In fact, when I first talked to Brett about it, I told him, I go, the only thing I know about it is it's out of control, and I'm willing to learn about it. What I can offer is I know how to make people smile and laugh. And he goes, you're in. The walking part, that's easy. It's dealing with the sadness and devastation every day when you talk to a parent that has lost a son or a daughter to this epidemic. It takes it out of you emotionally. There hasn't been a day that's gone by that we ain't broke down crying.
Sharing the story is something that can help the healing process and something that Brett and John could offer on their trip. Listening to others that went through or are going through experiences like Brett went through.
9 times out of 10, they're affected in a devastating way by this crisis. And talking about it is a great first step. Because from there, we can talk about the second step. You know, so it's connection, it's talking about it, it's letting go of the shame and the stigma associated with it, and bring it up in your community. You should be able to go to your church and say, my son's addicted to heroin, I need help. You should be able to do that.
Press Walk culminated in Fort Kent, Maine in August, after just over 200 days and over 2,000 miles. The Candlelight Vigil and the visit from Brett Bramble was held in conjunction with the Friends of Emmett Facebook group. The group meets on the last Wednesday of the month at Trinity Episcopal Church, and you can follow the group on Facebook at Friends of Emmett Trinity, all one word. And to find out more about Brett's story, you can visit brettbramblewalks.com.
Prom season is a rite of passage for many high school students. However, this is also a scary time for their parents as the risk for drunk driving skyrockets.
And that's the case for more than 85% of teens, according to an article that came out in 2017. The administrative staff at Bridgewater Rainham Regional High School tried to raise awareness of the possible life-changing effects of an OUI-related car crash. Brian Berard has more.
Bridgewater Rainham students got a unique look into the dangers of driving under the influence of drugs and alcohol. The junior and senior class had an assembly where students watched a video of a party with some familiar faces. The video, which featured several members of the senior class, ended in a mock fatal car accident, and at the end of the video, the junior class was brought outside to see the jaws of life being used while the senior class watched a simulcast in the auditorium.
I think it was a pretty good idea, warning everybody about what could happen, the dangers of if you drink and drive. I thought it was a good idea.
It was very important. It made me think twice about my decisions.
Yeah, it'll be in the back of my mind when I'm not
more educated.
At the conclusion of the demonstration, both classes met in the auditorium for a debriefing session and a powerful message made by Bridgewater Fire Chief Thomas Levy.
Not only have I had almost 40 years of public safety experience as a police officer and a firefighter, I've witnessed that multiple times. If you don't pay attention, be responsible for your actions, I guarantee you will know someone by the time you're 20 years old that they've either overdosed, they've gotten in a car accident due to texting, not paying attention, or drinking, or drugs. Mark my words. 39 years of experience tells me that's going to happen. So you better stop thinking, like some of the things I heard out there, thinking it was funny that the girl was doing a sobriety test by the police officers. Never do I want to go to another scene where I have to tell a parent or pull someone out of a car that's in that condition. I get paid to do my job. I don't get paid to live with the memories I have in my head. Think about it as a parent, individual, and a BR graduate.
This was a very useful assembly, and it taught me the dangers of drinking and driving.
Now, when you watched this video and you saw the presentation outside, does it kind of make you think twice about going out and how you're going to behave and control yourself when you go out to a party or so?
Yes, I want to make sure I stay safe during this prom season.
Car accidents are the leading cause of death amongst teenagers in the United States, and the students at BR got a startling reminder of just that. For Bridgewater Review, I'm Brian Berard.
When we return to this Bridgewater Year in Review, we'll show you more of the stories of community helping community, including a very familiar face earning a well-deserved award, and a Bridgewater restaurant closes its doors for a night of dining without judgment.
And as we go to break, we look at some of the top moments from the Bridgewater Rainham Regional School District. We'll be right back.
We are not even close to the end of this book, just ending a small chapter. In the grand scheme of things, this moment right now is only the beginning.
The bigger picture in terms of BR and what you've given to the students here in your endless hours, not only here at school committee meetings, but what you do with Read Across America and the veterans and everything you do with RAVE. You are going to be sorely missed. I'm going to miss you personally and professionally.
Schools will always be number one, and I may not be in this seat, but I'll always be supporting what you do.
You are ready and eager to take on that next stage of your lives. This is just the close of one chapter, because your lives are truly about to begin.
During this time, we have shared in some amazing experiences. From being a part of Red Nation, cheering on the football team on cold, rainy nights, to giving standing ovations to every incredible rainwater show, and throwing on tie-dye shirts to support TJ Squared. But now, those 4 years have passed, and the time has come for us all to once again branch off and forge our own paths towards the future.
We are BR, and we truly embody that sense of one team, one family.
With the year drawing to a close, we here at BTV would like to remind you all to follow us online so that you can keep up with all of our content in 2019. You can always visit our website at btvaccess.com and view our video on demand. You can also add us on Facebook and YouTube at BTV Access Corporation. Finally, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BWTR Television. On all of these platforms, you can find any of our programming, like Bridgewater Review. Sorry, I'm still kind of reeling from when John killed Bridgewater this week. It was kind of a sad moment for all of us at the studio. Actually, now that I think about it, that's not even the only programming that has died in the last year here at BTV. Something that has also seemed to die was Frankenzone. Once Jason got a fancy new job, we saw him a lot less, and the show seemed to come to a standstill. Along with that, it seems that Mark Macrina is too good for us now that Jason's AWOL because Hollywood Lowdown hasn't happened in months. Out of Bounds almost died, but luckily Brian brought it back just before the end of the year to save it. We thought we lost John Luck when we went to film our annual trip to the CACC tournament, but it turns out he just had a little cold, or pneumonia or something, I don't know. And with some popular programming not here anymore, Jeff Fowler's semi-accurate weather forecasts have taken its place as our top-rated programming. Even the production truck is gone right now. Luckily though, we'll be getting that back new and improved in the new year. I guess most things have been new and improved. The Bridgewater Review and its weekly installments of updates have been performing well. Out of Bounds' new format has gained more views. Jeff's getting pretty good at the whole weather thing too. Actually, now that I think about it, BTV has had a lot of good things happen this year, especially their newest hire. Here's to more improvements in 2019. Thank you for your loyal viewership, and we hope to see you next year.
The Bridgewater Police 5K and Kids 1 Mile Fun Run has quickly turned into a very popular tradition that people look forward to every year. The run leads into Autumn Fest and is a great opportunity to give back to the community.
Hundreds came out to support America's Vet Dogs and run in the 5th annual BPD 5K and Fun Run. Most ran by themselves, however, some had some help either with their dog or their family members help push them to the finish line. Although the race took a short time to run for most, this is actually an effort that starts a long time before the horn sounds, and a lot of the preparation is done by race organizer Rebecca Kaler.
This is really just the frosting, if you will. The cake has really been baked for a number of months, does an awful lot of work, and so we're lucky that she was able to get out of the other prior commitment and get here in time for the awards, which she deserved and she should have been here for. So we're very, very pleased with that and very thankful, to be honest.
It is a hugely popular event. It's great for the community. People come and participate in this, and then they go over and enjoy Autumn Fest, and it's just a great way to highlight all the wonderful things and all the wonderful people that Bridgewater has to offer.
Funds from this year's race went to the organization America's Vet Dog. We introduced you to the group earlier this year as they placed dogs with veterans and first responders with disabilities.
So we like to find a charity that means something to someone on the board or is very involved in the community. My family's worked with America's Vet Dogs for several years. They make a connection between prisoners, community, and the police department, which is a really unique niche that they can bring all those different aspects together.
Obviously, when Rebecca comes forward and she says, look, I have a worthy organization, I trust her judgment. She's done a lot of work on the road race, but also this, what I've learned about America's Vet Dogs, a very worthwhile organization helping a lot of people out there. So we're very fortunate that we're able to do this through Rebecca's efforts, the road race, people in the community, but also through the organization itself. America's Vet Dog has been very helpful too.
It's been a pleasure to be a part of the community in a little bit of a different way. And we have a great partnership with correctional facilities in Massachusetts, but having that direct community reach really means so much. And you guys have just brought so much to America's Vet Dogs and helping us get more dogs into the hands of veterans. So that's been really wonderful.
During the check presentation, the announcement of the 2019 race beneficiary was announced, and the new beneficiary will be Molly's Vesta dog. Molly started this effort when she was 10 years old, raising $500 to help provide equipment for a police canine cruiser, and since then, she has asked for donations to help police canines and canine officers, adding up to more than $50,000. For more information on Molly's Vesta dog, visit the Facebook page Molly's Annual Massachusetts Vesta Dog Fundraiser.
Before the trophy presentation, there was a special award that was presented to a familiar face in town. Sam Baumgarten was surprised by race organizer Rebecca Kaler and Bridgewater Police Chief Chris Del Monte. In Sam's name, there will be a legacy award presented to a member of the community who exemplifies the qualities that Sam established throughout his many years of community service here in town.
In recognition and appreciation of your educational efforts to positively influence, consistently challenge and encourage, to truly inspire generations of Bridgewater youth, and to promote healthy living through the sport of running. And I just want to say personally, both for myself and Rebecca and the department, Sam, we appreciate all the things you've done on behalf of this community.
Residents around town may remember running in Sam's Kids Road Race at Bridgewater State University over a span of 35 years. It was efforts like that which made the choice easy in choosing someone to name this recognition after.
Chief said being our 5th year, we needed to make it a little bit special, and there's no one else that we could think of that would be more special than Sam. He does so much for the community, and it always has a positive word and advice and help, and just an all-around great guy.
I'm not usually speechless, but I'm almost speechless today. This was totally out of the blue, and it really is a very special thing because it's not just a one-time award, it's forever. So that's really cool, and I very much appreciate the recognition from you folks. I do this because I just love to see people move and stay healthy, and I hope this will continue to inspire people to do that.
In June, a local restaurant began a new tradition, a night out for families affected by autism. Over 90 people came out for the inaugural event, and it was so well received that the owners are hoping to continue the dinner monthly. Alicia Fortin has more.
It's called the Judgment-Free Night, and Crispy's is the judgment-free zone.
Oh, it's fantastic. Crispy's is awesome. I'm a Bridgewater resident. We always come here, but this is extra special for us.
The popular restaurant has been serving area residents for over 30 years, but July 9th was for families affected by autism.
A friend of mine and I, who's a special ed teacher, were chatting one night, and we were talking about things that we could do. And this came up, so we said, let's run with it. The families that come love it.
This is the second time Crispy's has closed its doors so that these families could enjoy a meal together, unhurried and without judgment.
It's nice to feel like you're part of a community.
It's something we can do. There's things we can't do. You know, if someone says to us, can you donate $1,000? We can't do that. We can't do $500. This we can do.
How was it?
It was delicious.
Delicious?
Yeah.
You think you'll come back here again?
Yeah.
Outside of eating, there are plenty of fun activities to bring to the table or use in a separate space.
We have some old-fashioned stuff. Stickers and Play-Doh, coloring, cards, things like that.
The hope is to continue these dinners monthly and that more people come out.
We just want more people to come. I mean, it's literally, nothing is wrong tonight. It's all good. It's good noise. There's like no rules. There's no guidelines. It's whatever you need to get through dinner is what goes on.
Crispy's is doing an amazing thing. I hope other restaurants, facilities just reach out, not only for autistic families, but for families with special needs children.
It was great.
In December, another judgment-free dinner was held, and we showed you on the Bridgewater Now holiday special that a certain someone paid the restaurant and its patrons a visit. There will be more judgment-free dinners coming up in 2019.
December marked a year since 2 Bridgewater dogs went missing.
But their family isn't without hope that they'll make their way home. Alicia Fortin talked with them back in February.
Marcy. Maury.
They were named after my favorite aunt and uncle, and they even acted like them. They protected each other.
And the Woodward family is hoping that Marcy and Maury are protecting one another right now. The soft-coated Wheaton Terriers went missing on December 9th.
It was snowing and raining. It was actually our very first snow. I let them out of the house, and because I was cleaning off the car and was going to take them for a car ride, and they took off. And I don't know if it was a scent. I don't know if it was, but normally when you say you want to go for a ride in a car, that's all it takes. They come right back.
The dogs, ages 8 and 10, were later spotted in the area of Summer and Flag Streets.
And they spotted them around 1 or 2 in the morning the night that they were missing. So that's why we started there with the dog tracker. And the dog tracker tracked from there where they went.
Since then, nothing. Both dogs do have activated microchips and were immediately reported missing.
At the time that I had the microchip, they didn't have the trackers then. So hopefully all the vets, this is to all the vets, I hope that you check new dogs that come in.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's a unique story too with them both missing. And I really truly believe that they're still together. They wouldn't leave each other. You know, if one's hurt, they're standing by each other. That's how their whole life has been.
Yeah, they're like an old married couple.
Life without their beloved companions is difficult, to say the least.
It's not the same. It's just not the same. I miss them every day. I look out the window. I look out the door thinking that they're there, and they're not.
For the family, the worst part is not knowing. The magnitude of this loss being felt by everyone, including Marcy and Maury's daughter, Molly.
She misses her parents. She wants her parents to come home. And when they first went missing, Molly would be shaken, and it's like you could just tell she knew something was wrong.
Despite their heartbreak, the Woodwards are not giving up hope. Hope that Marcy and Maury will find their way home.
And I'm not giving up because there's no reason to give up.
If there is a silver lining to this story, it's the outpouring of support from the community. Janice and her two daughters, Nicole and Amika, used social media to spread the word. The response has been overwhelming.
They have gone over and beyond.
Flyers and updates were shared hundreds of times, drones searched from above, security cameras are being watched regularly. The flyer even made it onto the digital sign outside of Prisco's Market in Delhi and has been carried around by school bus drivers and corrections officers.
People have really been out of this world.
And there are so many more to thank, like Lisa McKay, other area animal control officers, and Mike McDermott, a firefighter who offered to go out and search on his ATV.
And try to help look for the dogs, especially where we couldn't get to.
We can't thank you enough from the bottom of our hearts to, you've kind of filled a void to have them, you know, to help us find them and bring them home. If I had to speculate, I would think that one of them was hurt, and the other one is staying by and won't leave the other one's side, or that someone has them. And maybe they just don't know.
The family would like to ask the public to continue to keep an eye out for Marcy and Maury, to check their sheds or anywhere a dog might seek shelter.
There will be no questions asked. If my dogs are still out there, to please return them. You can leave them on my deck, or you can call any one of us. I am offering a $5,000 reward for the safe return of both dogs.
It's time for them to come home.
You can stay updated on the Facebook page, Bring Home Marcy and Maury. Anyone with any information about the dogs or their collars are asked to call 508-942-6977.
If anybody does find their collars, a bright orange and a bright green collar with our phone numbers on them, please call me, because I need closure and I need to know. If anybody sees them, please tell them to go home, because I really miss my Maury and Marcy.
You can see the flyer that's made its way through the social media circuit, and local social media groups have used Facebook as a way of locating lost animals. Hopefully 2019 will have a happy ending for Marcy and Maury and their owners as well.
Some young Bridgewater soccer players are helping out kids thousands of miles away. Prima Ndeka is the mayor of Rakai in Uganda, and Mayor Ndeka was in the United States visiting her son at Bridgewater State University and also went to a meeting in Washington, D.C. The youth soccer in Rakai is an award-winning program, but they didn't have cleats, and that's where the Bridgewater Youth Soccer Program and the Bridgewater Sports Complex stepped in. Mayor Ndeka and members of Bridgewater government were in attendance for the presentation at the soccer field to show off the community efforts.
So all these shoes are going to go to Africa, and we're going to collect any more that we can, and we'll send them over with Mayor Prima. And this is her son Dennis. He goes to Bridgewater State University, and he's going to make sure that all of these things get with her. And we're sponsoring this with the town council. We have Benny Loge and Councilor Sean George. And so the whole town is helping to get these over to Africa. That's a pretty cool thing, right? So here's to Bridgewater Youth Soccer. You guys are great.
Well, some great work by the Bridgewater Youth Soccer Program and the Sports Complex as well. Mayor Ndeka returned to Uganda with the cleats and clothing, and her son Dennis, who we mentioned, goes to Bridgewater State. He sent the rest of the donations to Uganda a few weeks later. Local seamstresses have been making a difference around the world. Over 55 volunteers consistently serve with Bridgewater's chapter of Dress a Girl, a campaign seeking to provide girls in impoverished areas with their own dress.
In a little over a year, over 250 dresses were hand-delivered to girls living in Uganda, Malawi, Cambodia, China, and more. Alicia Fortin met up with some of the organizers over the summer to learn about the program.
It looks like a sewing bee of days gone by, full of hope for the future. A future where every girl owns something as simple as her own dress.
It's amazing how word spreads from one to another, and that's what our hope is. When a woman comes in and learns how to make a dress, she will then go home and make 4 or 5 more.
The campaign is called Dress a Girl, run through the international organization Hope for Women. Its presence in Bridgewater is due largely to these 4 women: Evelyn DeLutis, Sue Ladd, Gail McCarthy, and Gloria Moran.
I walked into the West Bridgewater Library one day to pick up a book, and there were 2 dresses hanging there. As a lover of sewing and fabric, I had to go over and touch and look. And then I asked the librarian about the project.
Gail is the librarian Evelyn talked to.
My sister and I had both retired around the same time, and we both loved to sew. We have little girls that never had to want for a dress, and we saw all these little girls in need around the world.
Workshops are now popping up all over Bridgewater, from the United Methodist Church to the Cole Yeaton Senior Center.
People that don't sew, there's plenty for them to do as well. We have ironing, cutting, measuring, bagging the dresses, making the pockets, just coming for moral support. Every time I finish a dress, I sing "You Are My Sunshine" to it, and some women like to pray over the dresses and, send good wishes that way. So even if you just come and sing about our dresses and just send that love through the dress to the little girl, we know she's going to feel it.
And if you want to learn to sew, Gail offers simple sewing lessons at the West Bridgewater Library on Tuesdays.
Aren't they the cutest?
The finished dresses come in all shapes and sizes, colors, and fabrics, though one detail remains the same: this label of love.
And it's been found that little girls wearing these dresses are not subject to predators.
We've got to protect these little girls, even if it's one at a time. That's what we're going to do.
The dresses are then hand-delivered to girls in need.
This precious little girl right here is from Haiti, and this is my cousin's wife, and he and his wife went to Haiti on a mission. They're chiropractors, and she brought down dresses for the little girls, and this just happens to be one of the ones that I made.
Donations are pouring in from the community, some with their own touching stories.
It's been really great to see other people come in. We had this gentleman, Pappy, whose wife sewed and passed away 3 years ago, and he could not go downstairs where her sewing machine and all her fabric was.
But when he saw the article, he said he knew that's what she would want him to be doing. And he brought a whole roll of this fabric, along with lace and eyelet and his wife's sewing machine.
Bridgewater State University has donated a grant to pay for new sewing machines and towards student involvement.
There's a program at the elementary school for the 5th graders, and they had never sewed before. And they took a t-shirt, put a skirt on, we assembled and put the labels on, but there were kids that had never sewed in their life before, and they did a great job. We got 13 dresses from them.
And there's a lot of love that goes into the making of these dresses as well. So we think about the little girls who are going to be the recipients of these and probably have never had a new dress, perhaps, in their life.
Now, as was mentioned in the package, the community-led effort includes 5th and 6th graders from the Learn to Sew class at the Williams Intermediate School, generous donations from individuals, and 2 grants from Bridgewater State University. Organizers are planning to send their next batch of dresses to Haiti.
Turning to weather now: nor'easters, blizzards, flooding rains, bitter cold, high heat, and tornadoes. Just your everyday run-of-the-mill weather here in the world of 2018. Jeff Fowler has more on some of the top stories and weather from this year.
New Englanders rang in the new year under frigid conditions and temperatures that were dropping on New Year's Eve faster than the ball would drop in Times Square. The first week of 2018 also featured our first major snowstorm of the season on the 4th of the month, where just over a foot of snow fell in Bridgewater. The snowy pattern was followed by a deep freeze, and our region felt more like a frozen tundra. The extreme cold and snow caused problems on the roads and on the tracks, as an elderly couple found themselves stuck on the snowy tracks on Route 18 near Spring Street before being rescued by two Good Samaritans. As January progressed, the snowbanks quickly melted and temperatures rebounded into the 40s for average highs. That warmer weather continued into February, leading us to think that we might have dodged a bullet on the winter season. That was, of course, until March came roaring in like a lion. Not one, not two, but three major nor'easters blasted our region between March 2nd and 13th. The first brought hurricane-like conditions with flooding rains and winds which toppled trees as gusts approached 70 miles per hour. By the time the third and final blow hit Bridgewater, we were buried under a blanket of heavy, wet snow which would remain on the ground through St. Paddy's Day. April and May featured cool, wet weather, and folks started to wonder if summer would arrive. Boy, did it ever. By the time June got here, temperatures were starting to soar, and our region was parched by the 4th of July. One of the hottest Independence holidays we've had in Bridgewater. Temps were in the mid-90s, heat indices well into the 70s, and in fact, those heat indices would stay at oppressive levels throughout the summer months and well into September. The extended heat and humidity led to some autumn oddities, with a delayed foliage season and some unprecedented severe weather in October when tornadoes of all things would touch down just before Halloween. By the time we got to Turkey Day, that pesky deep freeze was back as Bridgewater would experience one of the coldest Thanksgiving holidays on record. With an unstable El Nino pattern in place, forecasters are not completely sure what 2019 will bring. One thing we can guarantee, it's going to have a tough act to follow.
When we come back, Brian Berard looks at some of the accomplishments of the local area teams in 2018.
And now as we go to break, we've shown you community helping community. There are some stories we didn't get to. Let's show you some of the other moments that we saw in Bridgewater in 2018.
Woods and the farms, they're all right by me.
Music is once again filling the heart of Bridgewater.
We've had an opportunity to kind of bring something greater to the town of Bridgewater.
Tow trucks, milk trucks, fire trucks, and even the BTV truck were on display for the second annual Touch a Truck held at Bridgewater State University's Spring Street lot. Pastor Alicia Velez-Stewart has been in Bridgewater for a few months and has already started making an impact in the community.
This is what we call spirituality and hospitality. We're giving out free tea and treats and conversation to anybody who walks by, just to let them know that there is some joy in the world. When things feel like they're kind of falling apart.
Even when the music is over, in a room like this, the notes echo off these walls. They reverberate not only in this place, but they reverberate in your mind and in your hearts. And all of what you've done to conduct, to compose, to organize, to create beautiful music will forever reverberate in our hearts and minds, in the hearts and minds of our students, and that is your true legacy. Congratulations, Dr. Carol Nicolaris.
Thank you for making memories that will remain with me, and I'm sure with everyone here, forever.
Here in Bridgewater, two youngsters raised over $1,000 in memory of Sergeant Michael Chestnut and Vera Adams.
And they did it in only 5 hours. Several police departments were among those to visit Lily Sinopoli and Sophia Umbro's lemonade stand on July 24th.
And this is certainly another reminder that a simple gesture can make a big impact.
Bridgewater's Childhood Cancer Vigil at Legion Field. This annual event has become part of the town's Go Gold for Childhood Awareness.
We just put up ribbons around the center in hopes that people would ask what they're for, and we can bring some light to childhood cancer, because a lot of people think it's rare and it really isn't, and there's a huge lack of funding.
I look forward to the day where there will be a cure and no child will have to go through this.
The 10th annual 3v3 Jamboree was held at the Bridgewater Sports Complex on Martin Luther King Day. The event, which goes to help a wish come true, helps families in need.
Basically, it was just a set up to help children 3 through 18 who have illness that really wanted to go somewhere, help them struggle through their difficult parts in their life while they're trying to get through an illness, or to help them make it a little bit easier for them.
One Bridgewater man hit the mass cash lottery game 9 times. Yes, 9 times. Bridgewater resident Robert Lundstedt bought 8 winning tickets in West Bridgewater and 1 winning ticket in Bridgewater.
The Bridgewater man made his debut on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Jonathan Lobencho was on the daytime game show and told host Chris Harrison what he would do with the money.
What would you do with this kind of money? I know my mom's watching right now. Yep. And she's going to be totally surprised to hear that when I win, I'm going to buy her a house. And she's...
Our loving and most gracious God, as we are gathered here today, we would like to recognize and honor all United States veterans. As we honor them, we also honor you, our God, for it is your divine gift of freedom to us for which they have fought and died. We stand in your presence, humbled by the thought, by the enormity of their sacrifice for us.
Today in the United States, we have 20 million veterans, a little more than 20 million. Veterans who embody the American spirit, veterans who have worked selflessly and tirelessly to preserve our heritage of freedom. We, the 300 million Americans who benefit from our veterans and our veteran service, should not only be thankful, we should honor all of them by living mindful of the sacrifices made, reflective in the freedoms we enjoy, and remembering that the 11th day of the 11th month is a day to promote enduring peace and unity for all Americans.
For 10 years, one program has covered the high school and youth sports scene here in southeastern Massachusetts like no other.
You are listening and watching 4 Deep Sports Talk.
You know, the questions we usually ask them, they just feel accomplished. They feel like, oh, someone actually cares about, you know, the little things that made our program work, and they get to express themselves.
Another successful summer is coming to an end for Bridgewater Summer Rec Camp.
BTV was fortunate to host the group in July, showing them the equipment we use every day and getting a full report on their summer with the program.
We also walked down to the town hall and voted for a type of ice cream and acted like presidents.
3, 2, 1, push.
There it goes.
Keller.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Well, now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Life seemed dull? Well, don't be blue, 'cause I can tell you what to do and guarantee she'll notice you. Yeah? Brush your teeth. Buttons and bows and painted toes, powder on your turned-up nose. He'll look at you. Yeah? If you brush your teeth. Brush that hair down thick or thin. If it's too long, get a trim. To make her dig you, yeah, brush your teeth.
Welcome back to the Bridgewater Year in Review. This year in sports was both rewarding yet challenging. It was a year that had numerous Old Colony League titles, MASCAC titles, state titles, and even a national championship. Let's take a look back at what was the year for Bridgewater Rainham, Bridgewater State, and the Brockton Rocks. It was quite a year for BR, BSU, and the Brockton Rocks, but surely 2019 will have even more in store. For BTV Sports, I'm Brian Berard, wishing you all a happy and healthy new year.
All right, Brian, thank you, and thank you for watching this Bridgewater Year in Review special. If you missed anything or to watch some of our programming archive, you can visit our on-demand service anytime, anywhere on btvaccess.com.
We'll be back in 2019 with more stories from around our community. In the meantime, I'm Scott Olson.
And I'm John Luck. As we leave you today, we show you some of our better moments here at BTV with my professional talents and everybody else.
Yeah,
enjoy.
Okay. Thanks, John.
I regret this entire year.
Huh? Oh no. I don't feel so good.
Wow, it's like a dramatic 80s video. Turn around, every now and then I get a little bit lonely.
And you're never coming round.
On Friday, and that will be moving up the East Coast here with, again, oh man, I disappeared.
And screw you guys for thinking I was going to mess that up.
I'm leaving that in, Scott. Time for the next note. I paid attention.
Woo! Brewing company. Christmas is about to get way better. Oh, you're still recording?
So what happened with this storm and why did we get almost nothing? Jeff Fowler has more, plus a look ahead at this weekend for We will still update you on the news and events around the town.
Oh, that's recording. I got lost. I'm sorry.
You suck.
I know I suck. Go back.
What?
I am going to win the fantasy football season. Yeah, I see how you tried to get that in here.
That wasn't me, though.
Oh, that was probably Mary.
That was not me.
I'm definitely winning, though.
Look at that. Oh, there we go. Great. Well, I got like a new sweater. We should do a dance off, Doc.
No. No.
That's gross.
All right, Doc, stop, collaborate, and listen to the forecast here to talk about Halloween trick-or-treat and be a bit on the vanilla side. Not very icy, though, this year.
There are a few things parents can do to make sure it's safe and an enjoyable evening.
Yo, Kitty, what if I go to Bradley's at the mall? Is that safe?
Sure. Just go.
Yo,
Go do
Woolworths always have some of those candies,
I
right?
had so much energy. This was going well, and you had to come and ruin it.
Kind of like my career.
I'd also like to take congratulations to January Students of the Month at BMS. Angela, oh boy.
Yeah, well, you know, I've been working out.
All right, now, Mary, let's say this here. Hey, how do you feel about this performance here tonight? She feels amazing.
We finally linked up after a couple of
It's about
months.
time you start taking fashion tips from me, Brian.
Hey,
I'm glad to
that's
see you've actually figured out your
Probably
life.
one of the worst decisions I've made in my life.
You like what you see here, Gunther, do ya?
I could do that. Don't I at least get an intro or anything? Something fantastic? Huh? Can we? Nice.
That's all the time we have for this edition of the Bridgewater Review.
Ah, yes, it is. Well, oh man, it didn't come
Yes,
fast
it is,
enough.
Scott. Hey, Scott, we
I had to
we have
ad-lib.
reached an end to our viewing day.
I had to ad-lib, and I chose poorly.
Oh my God.